Hi, this is Alan Lord doing another one of our Drink with Alan videos. This time I have sparkling bottled water. I'm sitting on the deck of my family's house on Lake Lorelei in Brown County, and with me is Harry Stabler, who lives nearby in Blanchester, and I think he just told me it's about 15-20 minutes away, something like that. So he was kind enough to stop over and make this little video for me. As you know, today is the 9th of July in 2018, and what we're trying to do is just have these videos and have people share a little bit about themselves and what's been going on in the last 50 years. So Harry, I'm just going to let you kind of start from Deer Park days.
Well, the Deer Park days were good days. I mean, from kindergarten all the way up. I can remember our teachers from kindergarten all the way up to when we graduated. 50 years, it's hard to believe it's been 50 years since we graduated from Deer Park High School. And a lot's happened to me and my family in those years. After school graduation, I worked for my father for about a year, then enlisted to the Marine Corps in 1969 and went into the Marines in August of 69, went to Vietnam for a year, came back, got married 3 days after I came back. That's another story, but it takes too long to tell it. My wife and I lived here in Cincinnati. We had moved from Cincinnati to Virginia Beach area. I was employed with the Icy Company, the frozen drink, which I'm sure everybody's had one or another in their past. And with Icy, I started here in Cincinnati, moved to Virginia Beach, was there for 7 months, and then I was transferred to Baltimore, Maryland, where I was a regional account executive. I was there for 5 years, and then we were transferred back to Cincinnati, where I stayed employed for 43 years with the Icy Company, retired in 2014. In between that, we had two sons, Jeff, who was born in 1972, and Scott, who was born in 1975. Two great kids. Scott, unfortunately, we lost in 1993, so we had our one son now. It was a difficult task, losing a child.
What happened to him?
He had scoliosis, and he had a rod, the Harrington rod that they put in the backs, and he had that done at 14 years old. At 18, he had outgrown the rod, so they had to replace the rod. They were going to do it at Children's Hospital because that's where he had the first rod put in, and that was 4 days before Christmas, and he never came off the operating table. So that was, needless to say, the biggest tragedy of our lives, and we'll live with that for the rest of our lives. But moving on, we've dealt the best we can with that, and we live out here now. After we lost Scott in '93, we moved out to Blanchester and bought a small farm where we had horses, and did that for 12 years. It got to be a little bit too much at sometimes, as my wife would have said, too much work, but I actually enjoyed it. And we sold the farm and downsized on the other side of Blanchester, where we just have 2.5 acres now, with a house that it's easy to maintain. Our other house at the farm was built around the Civil War time. It seemed like there was a lot of work. We gutted the house and remodeled the whole thing. Then this past year, one of my dearest friends, and probably the dear friend of most of the people from Deer Park, was Bob Oakes, who we lost back in November on the 16th. He was a great family guy. He had 3 kids, been married to Sharon for 30-some years, and we was hoping that he'd be coming here to this reunion. And where we connected, Bob and I, was at our 20th reunion in 1988. He came to that reunion at the urging of his wife, and from that point on, there was like 5 of us: Greg Muller, Rick Baker, myself, Joe Dulwig, and Bob Oakes. We would meet every October in Gatlinburg, where we would rent a chalet, and it was no rules. It was whatever you wanted to do to whoever it was, and we had a blast. But we were involved in the 25th reunion, Rick Baker and Joe and I, and there was Karen Volk, Wanda Thomas, and we had a lot of fun doing that. So we're really looking forward to this reunion here. Alan's done a whole lot of work and put a whole lot into this, which I think is going to make it even that more successful, and looking forward to it. a lot of faces who we haven't seen, who I haven't seen in many, many years. It's going to be, I know that person, but I can't think of who, I know that name, but I can't remember who that person is.
And
I'm
of course
sure
we can't recognize any of them either.
Yeah, with no hair, or gray hair, or long hair, or
A little more weight for most of us.
a little bit more weight. Yeah. Sometimes we're maybe walking with a hurricane or wheelchair or whatever it might be. But no matter what condition you're in, just to be able to be there and share some of the stories that we had growing up at Deer Park. Alan and I talked a little bit yesterday about being in the Cub Scouts and going into the Boy Scouts. And those were memorable times that we had, as well as just being in high school. It was a camaraderie amongst all the students, I think. The classes that we had back then, everybody seemed to know everybody.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that just brought us closer together. Where I think today's students, they don't know who's even in their class. And that's sad. I know you had a younger brother. I know your mother's wife's name was Katie.
Yeah.
I know most of the families.
And, you know, I think that it's the thing I've noticed about working on this is that common background that we have has enabled people who didn't have classes with each other in high school to immediately still connect and build relationships like you and Bob built after the 20th year.
Right.
And I've already seen it with these events that we have at Chicken on the Run. And I think that that's been a real benefit. I know that Martha knows I told a lot of people I'm not getting paid to do any of this except getting paid because I'm getting the one guy who gets to talk to most of the people. The disadvantage is, as you said, we lost Bob. I never thought a little less than a year ago when I started working on this that we would lose 3 guys already.
It's hard to believe.
It's been very hard that we lost Gary Stewart and Norris Asbury and Bob.
But 20% of our class, I think, is what it is.
Well,
right close to it, isn't it?
From the beginning, I said we would lose somewhere between 15 and 20%. We're past 15, but we're not quite to 20 yet. But unfortunately, that's the way it works.
That's
and
life.
If we wait 5 more years, well, we're going to have more. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got some people that aren't as good at health as others, and that's just the way it is. So we want to encourage everybody to come. I do have a question.
Yep.
As somebody who won the lottery from the draft and got a 269, did you end up in the Marines because you lost the lottery?
No, actually.
Or did you go because that's what you wanted to do?
No, excuse me. Actually, I was going steady with my now wife, Karen. We met in high school. She graduated from Indian Hill in '68, and we've been dating. And I knew at that time, at 19 years old, I had to do something. I just got out of school, high school, and I wasn't ready to go to college yet. So I thought I had to do something. And if I hung around doing nothing, it was just going to be a waste of my life.
And going to lead to trouble.
So I thought, okay, if I'm join the service, I'm going to go into probably to Vietnam. I'm going to go to the branch that I thought was the best. So that's why I joined the Marines. And that was an experience for 2 years. I mean, I would never trade that. It was a great experience. Some things were difficult. Some things was a learning experience. But
certainly growth development, that's for sure.
yeah, and I never got a draft notice. I wasn't in the lottery, and I'd already joined. And the crazy thing about it is Larry Garrett, who was a couple years younger than us, who went to Deer Park, we were going to go on the buddy system. So I thought, okay, that's going to be pretty good. You know, at least I'll have somebody who I know who's there. As it turns out, he flunked a physical, and here my butt's going. But what was also ironic was that I was, I think, on a ship outside Japan, and some guy comes up to me and he says, "Don't you have a brother named Harry?" And I says, "No, I am Harry." And it was Don Gillis.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, Don, I hope you watch this video. I doubt if you are, but I hope you and Sharon are watching this video and that you decide to come to the reunion. Because, you know, Don is married to Sharon Metzger.
I do know that.
And we've been trying to get them to come, but they haven't turned in their reservation yet, so I hope they decide to do it.
I know where he lives. I know where they live. They live in Goshen, and they've been there a long time. Actually, our birthdays are the same day, June 6th.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, Becky Hortel and I have the same birthday.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're a lot younger then, right?
Yeah, that's it. I'm only 55.
So, but yeah, Don was there, and then when we went to Okinawa, and Don was at the same camp that I was at, also there.
Well, what do you do in your spare time now that you're retired?
Cut grass right now. It seems like about every third or fourth day. Larry Gabbard and a bunch of us get together at Red Lobster over there in Kenwood about once a month. We had Don Hollis there, of course Greg's there, Rick's there, Jerry Newman shows up. Some of the
Ron
kids.
Wilson came the last one.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't come? Oh, he's supposed to come.
Yeah.
Didn't show up.
He was going to come, and I spoke to Ron, so he's definitely going to come to the reunion.
Oh, good.
But
He hadn't turned his stuff in yet, so I'm looking forward to getting that.
we have a lot of fun at that luncheon, and it seems like it's the same year of 1968, trading stories and doing stupid things to each other that we did back then.
So do you like to travel? Do you travel in your spare
Yeah,
time?
my wife and
A lot
I-
of people have motorhomes.
We
and
have an
stuff
RV.
like that.
We have a fifth wheel. We've been spending since retirement. We've been spending the winters in Estero, Florida, which is just south of Fort Myers. So we spend 3 months there, then come back and fight the bullet, fight the cold and the chill and the snow. But we've enjoyed doing that, and we've been out to Yellowstone. A lot of the national parks we've gone to with our RV. Plan to do a duplicate trip that you just did up to Arcadia.
Yeah.
We were going to do that this summer, but we'll probably do it next summer. And we enjoy that. As my wife and I and our son is getting married soon. The girl he's married, she's got three girls, and that'll bring some more joy to us in our life.
Well, my wife and I are working on going to all the national parks. We've done there's about 62 of the true national parks, and we've been to somewhere in the upper 30s.
Really?
At this point. We've got scheduled for several more. So that's one of our bucket list items.
That would be neat.
And of course, those of you that go down to Florida, I think that's going up north since I live in Puerto Rico, and it's 1,000 miles south of Miami. But I certainly understand the warm weather. I like the shorts and flip-flops 12 months a year, that's for sure.
I haven't had long pants on since last December.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to share while we're doing it?
No, Alan, I think everything's been pretty much covered. Appreciate all the hard work you put in, you and your crew who've done this. I know what it takes because we were involved in the
Oh,
process,
yeah,
and you've done a lot more than what we've done.
Well, I certainly appreciate the benefit of Rick coming to a lot of the meetings and giving advice and talking to you, and that's all been. And Gary Hoffman did the 20th, and so I talked to him. So, it's been a labor of love. Certainly, I got a couple hours in it, but we think it's going to be good. Now we got a couple more months to see how I can hold it all together and make it all work out. But
Actually, time's running out.
Yeah.
Next month.
Yeah. We're not too far away. We're about 6 weeks away. So we hope you all come to the reunion. And I thank Harry for coming over here and spending a few minutes with me. We hope you enjoyed this video. And we'll look forward to talking to you again on another video soon. Thanks.
Thank you.